Okay, this is video number 2 for 7th grade science density calculations worksheet 1. You should already have your equations written down for each of the 3 different variables and your units for each one. That is grams per milliliter or grams per centimeters cubed, grams and milliliters or centimeters cubed. Okay, so in our example problem here, actually, I wanted to say it's really good to have 3 different colored highlighters and just kind of decide that you're going to use the same color throughout. So density I'm going to do in pink, volume I'm going to do in green, and mass I'm going to do in yellow. Okay, so in this problem, we are asking what is mass. So mass is, I'm going to write my equation. Mass is density times volume. I'm going to plug in my density, 3 grams per milliliter. I'm going to plug in my volume, 100 milliliters. Then in my calculator, I am going to type in 3 times 100 equals 300. The milliliters divided by milliliters cancels out, and I end up with grams. For question number B, I have D equals, because density equals question mark, mass divided by volume, okay? And then I'm going to use the same colors, pink, green, and yellow for mass, okay? So what I'm going to do is put 95 grams divided by 950 milliliters, okay? In my calculator, I'm going to type in 95 divided by 950. That equals 0.1. And then this part here, grams over milliliters, is going to stay the same, okay? Because it can't simplify any further, all right? All right. The next problem says density equals, volume equals question mark, and mass equals 20 grams. So volume equals mass divided by density. Mass is 20 grams and density is 0.5 grams per centimeters cubed, okay? So again, I'm going to keep with the same colors that I've been using to help myself, okay? I'm going to plug in my numbers into my calculator. 20 divided by 0.5 is 40. And then grams divided by grams cancels out. And I end up with centimeters cubed in the numerator because this goes to the top because it is the denominator of the denominator. And I'm done. All right. Down here, you are going to convert first, okay? So 1.2 liters on the ladder is going to move 3 places to the right to get to milliliters. So 1.2 liters is 1,200 milliliters. I'm actually going to only be using the milliliters number, okay? And I am going to use the equation M equals D times V, okay? So density times the volume in the same units, okay? So I'm gonna go 24 grams per milliliter times 1,200 milliliters, okay? And that equals a big number. Milliliters cancels, okay? And 24 times 1,200 equals 28,800. Grams. Okay, and that is my density. This is my volume. All right, we're going to do the next problem. convert first. D equals M over V. 1.5 kilograms equals how many grams? We're going to move the same way. 1500. Okay. The volume, the mass. Okay. All right. So we're going to plug in 1,500 grams divided by 100 milliliters. If you know a little bit of math tricks, you can cancel out these two zeros. You end up with 15 grams per milliliter. And if you don't believe me, you can do 15 grams per milliliter. Okay. And the same thing here, we are highlighting those numbers. Okay. This question here, D equals question mark. I need to convert these 0.52 milliliters to, or liters to milliliters is going to move 3 spaces. So 520 and 500 milligrams to grams goes this way. 1, 2, 3, 0.5. So I am going to have 0.5 grams divided by 520 milliliters equals. Okay, now this one's special because the answer is 0.000965. Now, what you can do is now you can apply your knowledge of scientific notation and write 9.615 times 10 to the negative. And because it moves 1, 2, 3, 4 places negatively in the left direction, I'm going to go times 10 to the negative 4 grams per milliliter is my final answer. Okay? So same thing here. We are going to keep everything highlighted to match so we know what we're doing. And we are done with the first few problems. Okay? The bottom half and the back, you might need to do some calculations of volume. So for example, this one here says the graduated cylinder starts with 22.5 milliliters and it, this metal is 22.5 milliliters and then the mercury mass is 306. Okay, so we're gonna say the mass is 306 grams and the volume is 22.5 milliliters. It is asking me to calculate the density. Okay, so I know that density equals mass divided by volume. And then I'm going to plug in my numbers. 306.0 grams divided by 22.5 milliliters equals a number in grams per milliliter. Okay, and we keep the same colors because that is consistent. Okay, back side. It's hard to read. I should have grabbed another copy. This one is the weight of ethanol. We are just going to calculate the mass. Okay, so for this one is mass equals density times volume. This one here says what's the density of copper. So we're going to do density equals mass divided by volume. For this one here, what volume of silver metal? Okay, volume equals mass divided by density. This one says find the mass of 250 milliliters of benzene. Mass equals, okay, density times volume. A block of lead. Oh, this is the one. So a block of lead has dimensions 4.5 centimeters by 5.2 centimeters by 6 centimeters. The block weighs, or it has a mass of 1587 grams. from this information, calculate the density of lead. So density equals mass divided by volume, where volume equals length times width times height. Okay, so that means density equals mass divided by length times width times height. Okay, so that's how you set that one up. And then this one is the graduated cylinder starts at 45.5 milliliters and goes up to 49.1. Okay, so for this one, you have to subtract these two numbers to get your volume. Okay, so density equals mass over volume. Okay, good luck with this paper. You guys are great. Thank you.